What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here for another video, and Game Informer, which was previously shut down, has now mounted a comeback. Yes, Game Informer announced here on X that they are making their return in a post. Game Informer is back. The entire team is returning, and we can't wait to reconnect. Come join us to celebrate the best games, the people who make games, and the people who play games from around the world. They also have a little video here. Let's go ahead and take a look what they have to say.
We've got some big news to share today. Game Informer is back, and so is 100% of the team that was bringing you Game Informer when we shut down this past summer.
That means production, design, video, editorial, everybody.
Everything you loved about Game Informer before is coming back, but we're rethinking it and evolving it to be...
Hold on just a second. So let me get this straight. Your company, which went under, couldn't be saved or anything like that, is now coming back with the exact same people in the exact same roles, and you're expecting something different, some kind of new success. That seems a little weird, but sure, let's go ahead on with it.
Be bigger and better.
Game Informer has been around since 1991, and yes, we were blipped out of existence for a couple months here, but we're back, and I'm really excited to
He sounded super salty about that, by the way.
pick up where we left off and ramp things up to be even better.
Of course, we were devastated when Game Informer shut down this past summer because we loved working together as a team, but the thing that came as a shock was the outpouring of support and enthusiasm that came from you as readers and from people around the industry for what Game Informer had meant to them. I personally received messages from people who talked about growing up reading Game Informer and being excited about getting that magazine in their mailbox every month.
I was one of those people, by the way. I had a Game Informer subscription through GameStop. I was excited to get my new issue of Game Informer as a kid. There are a lot of games that I ended up becoming a massive fan of those series because of learning about them in Game Informer.
And what that meant for them. And we felt that that meant something and that it was something that was worth trying to fight for and preserve. So that's what we did.
If you unfollowed us on all our platforms like YouTube or Blue Sky or Instagram, I don't blame you. We disappeared. But
Hold on just a second. Notice what he didn't mention there? He didn't mention the one platform that probably has more social media traffic than any of the others for this specific kind of thing. And that's Twitter or X, which is where I saw this post, and a lot of people saw this post. And it's very, very interesting that he didn't mention that. But he was very clear to mention Blue Sky, a much smaller social media platform and a rival of Twitter X. And it's not like Blue Sky was something massive when Game Informer shut down. No, they were relatively the same size as they are now. Which gives me a little insight into the personal beliefs and feelings, ideas politically of this person saying this, and probably a lot of the sentiment in Game Informer. I'm just going to speak plainly. I feel like a lot of these people, just from what I'm hearing in that little bit right there and just seeing them, how they carry themselves, are probably not exactly fans of a particular political party, and especially one certain major political figure of that political party. And they're not really a fan of the guy who owns and runs Twitter X. So my guess is that you're going to get a lot of articles that are maybe a little bit leaning towards one political opinion should they ever become political. And that's also where I think this is sort of going. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
we have the keys back to all those accounts. They're active again, so go hit those follow buttons.
All of that is coming back, including
Please follow
an
us.
all-new approach to Game Informer magazine, both in print and digital forms.
The short version is that Gunzilla Games purchased Game Informer. Game Informer now operates under an independent entity called Game Informer Inc.
Editorial independence has been foundational.
By the way, Gunzilla Games, that is a blockchain company. They have an NFT-based extraction battle royale shooter, which is a mouthful to say. Trust me. This is Gunzilla Games here. Their CEO, Vlad Korlev, which in actuality is Vlad Korlev, so they don't even spell their own CEO's name right on his page, has been an angel investor, which is basically a guy who comes in and invests in startup companies. He has his fingers in numerous different technology company pies. And for most of his career, it looked like he worked in IT and banking, specifically communication systems for banks. That's his background. That's how he made his money. And now he's getting into these kinds of business. Alex Zoll, the second in command, shall we say, well, he was the founder and CEO of GamerGroove, and he's been a major investor in a bunch of different other game projects. He was also the former CEO and board member of Crytek Kyiv. The third big name here, of course, is Neil Blomkamp. Now, Neil Blomkamp is, of course, the director famous for directing District 9, Elysium, Chappie, those kinds of movies. And when you go up here to their actual game off the grid, right, and you go to the website, you will see, from what you can see here, it does have that very, very distinct look of Chappie, of District 9, things like that. It definitely has that Neil Blomkamp feel to it.
For Game Informer ever since it was started back in the 90s, and it will continue to be a sacred element of our operation going forward.
All of Game Informer's editorial content is 100% selected by our editorial team without any.
So basically what happened was this blockchain company, who's also producing this kind of gimmicky game, swooped in and they purchased Game Informer. And apparently they were very, very adamant that Game Informer be independent, even though technically they're still owned by Gunzilla. So they're not really independent, no matter how much they want to probably say that. And something tells me they're never gonna, say anything negative about Gunzilla's games. But yeah, Game Informer was purchased by Gunzilla, and they're going to be operating basically like a independent journalist website now. I wouldn't be surprised to see their posts on X, even though apparently they hate X, just like you see IGN and PC Gamer and Insider Gaming, all those guys. But in terms of where the money's coming from, it doesn't seem like at first glance that the money is coming from any real weird, funny sources. But there's still more digging that has to be done.
Game Informer ever since it was started back in the 90s, and it will continue to be a sacred element of our operation going forward.
All of Game Informer's editorial content is 100% selected by our editorial team without any outside influence, including from the new owners. In fact, that editorial integrity is something the new owners insisted upon as strongly as we did. Our team today considers.
That's a very good thing. It's good to hear that the new owners do want to have an independent journalist feel. They don't want any kind of messing around, any kind of influence. Even though, let's be honest, when it comes to their own product, it's going to be hard to deny that there maybe could be some influence, just as I was saying before.
Considers ourselves stewards of this legacy of Game Informer that has been built up over 30 plus years. I myself have had the good fortune to work with
Bro. Again, I can't confirm that they are vehemently against one political party, and that some of their articles might have certain political leanings to one side. But I am saying there are signs.
dozens of talented individuals who've come through over the 20 years I've been with the company and see the way that they have shaped and defined what Game Informer is all about.
Stay tuned in the coming months for more information about the relaunch of our physical magazine. But in the meantime,
Physical magazine.
Team that was bringing you.
Sorry, I jumped there. Physical magazine. That sounds like a terrible idea. Why would you ever do that? This is an age when people do not read physical media anymore, especially things like magazines, especially things that are journalistic-based magazines or even review-based magazines. Yes, in theory, I do like the idea of having an actual physical Game Informer that I can hold and that collectors can collect and have things like that. In the same way that I do like the nostalgic idea of having a VHS tape, or at this point even a DVD, any kind of physical media copy. But in the reality, it just can't compete, and it's going to end up costing you a lot of money to print those things.
Our physical magazine. But in the meantime, you can go to GameInformer.com right now and catch up on a ton of reviews of games that came out while we were shut down.
It's belated, but you can find our 2024 Game of the Year awards on GameInformer.com right now.
Here's a spamming of all the stuff that wasn't covered by us while we were, out of business.
And we also just really missed arguing with each other.
We can't wait to bring Game Informer magazine back into your hands, hopefully bigger and better than it was before, and continue delivering some of the best coverage of games, the people who make games, and the people who play games from all around the world. More robust membership and subscription offers are on the way in the coming weeks, but if you'd like to support Game Informer right now, you can sign up for early benefits today.
Okay, that's just their invoice there at the end. Now, if we go to Game Informer's site, you will see a lot of stuff they have here. They have here their Game Informer's belated Top 10 Games of 2024 awards. They have their Game Informer's Best of 2024 Editor's Personal Top 10 Picks list. And then they also have their reviews. Now, I think this is a terrible idea, and they should abandon their review process and just be really an informative journalist site. Because if they do reviews like this, eventually they're gonna get roasted and people are going to hate them. And honestly, doing reviews like this kind of makes them feel a lot like IGN. Because look at some of these reviews they're giving. Assassin's Creed Shadows, 8.5. Avowed, 8.25. That's kind of wild there. Wanderstop, I don't know what this is, but they gave it an 8. Here are some more of their reviews. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza, 8.5. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, 9.5. That's a decent review, I would agree with that. But still, it's in line with everything else. It's safe. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a 9. Marvel Rivals, 8.5. Dragon Age Veilguard, an 8. That's a bit brain damage. Especially seeing the fact that you have the benefit of retrospect viewing. Nah, 8 is a little wild on that. Silent Hill 2, 8.75, which is a bit weird seeing that everybody liked that game. The whole point here is there any review, any rating that you saw there that you think is wildly different from what you could expect from IGN or PC Gamer? I mean, it feels very generic. And if this is their thing, they want to become another just generic journalist site for gaming with terrible reviews. They want to become IGN. I guess go ahead. But you're going to lose a lot of the thing that endeared you to people. And yes, you're going to put out your physical magazine or whatever. But really, how many people are going to buy that? Like I said, this is an age where we don't actually read physical media anymore. And when you've made yourself a generic brand like IGN, the novelty of your little magazine is going to wear off. But anyway, it's good that they're back. It's good that we have another sort of journalistic opinion out there. But to me, it just feels like it's going to be more of the same opinion. There's nothing really new that's been gained here. And it's the same people that couldn't save the company from before that are back doing the same exact thing. Except now, I guess they have a better website or something. And they have new investment from a new owner. So what really has changed here? What thing new does this new Game Informer really bring to the table? I would say not much. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.